Not me, absolutely. Jamming out to that. So good. It's so good. Welcome everybody to Draft That, the only video game fantasy drafting series on the internet. Doesn't exist anywhere else because nobody else does it, because we're so unique here. It is unbelievable. It makes my head fuzz. But yeah, welcome on in. Today, we have a nice little treat for you. It's very sneaky. Today, we're doing stealth games. Very much looking forward to this one. I've played plenty of stealth games in the past, which makes me wonder why it was so hard to put this list together. Like, some questionable picks have snuck their way in to my top 10. And that's exactly what this show is all about. And as you can see here, my next challenger is Darza. Darza is now my permanent next challenger. But I don't want to change this. You know, it's just nice. It's nice. Next challenger is Darza. But we will have community members challenging us in the very near future. Red Wolf will be joining us for some open world games in our next Draft That following this one, so keep your eye out for that one in the future. But yes, this is Draft That, and a little bit on the rules before we bring Darza in here. So both me and Dars will have 10 picks each. Now we'll alternate between who does the picks. We'll do a coin flip to decide who goes first, but we make things a little bit more interesting here. So our round 1 to 4 picks are concrete. They cannot be touched. So whatever picks 1 to 4 are, that is exactly how they will be at the end of the show. However, from round 5 to 10, they are all open for a steal. We both have that power-up available to us. So if Dars picks something that really, really excites me, and Dars always excites me, I can choose to steal his pick in favor of one of my own, and Dars will be forced to then replace that pick. I haven't used one yet. It's my own power-up, and I have not used one yet. Dars has used 2 so far, and we have done 2 episodes. So, maybe today's the day. Maybe today is the day I unleash a steal. Who knows? Who knows? But, well, this is actually the perfect time to bring Dars in, because I'm going to reveal to everybody who won the previous episode of Draft That, which was first-person shooters, and I'd like to point out that that was me, Dars. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a fix, obviously.
Obviously. I mean, it wouldn't be anything else, obviously. But how are you, Dars, despite the fact you lost
I'm all right.
in the last one?
I'm all right, and yeah, I'm all right. I've been very stealthy about how exactly I am.
Very stealthy. You don't want to give anything away.
No, I don't.
Especially with this.
And in fact, I'm not even going to tell you what my picks are.
Well, that's good. That's good. Very, very stealthy. Very solid snake.
I'm going to sit here in silence for 2 hours.
We just got to guess. I could probably guess your top 10.
No, you couldn't.
So this is the good thing. This is the good thing of why Dars is such a great pick for a co-host to doing this. Like, we live in such
my annoyance level.
Well, there is that, but I can tolerate it at this point. I've known you for nearly a year and a half, 2 years. You just get used to it, and you guys watching this will get used to it too. Just give it about 10 episodes, and you'll be right where I am.
About 10 years.
Yeah. 10 years of episodes. But there's a good contrast between me and Dars. Dars picks a lot of the retro stuff. I pick a lot of the modern stuff. And then in areas we meet in the middle as well. So it's a good contrast to have between the two of us. And I'm very, very curious to see what games we've gone for on this list. And I imagine there may be some duplicates on this one. Or well, maybe not to the game, but to the series. I'll be interested to see which games in the series we have gone for.
Yeah. There's a couple of series that are well known that will not be appearing on my list for the simple reason that I haven't actually played any games from those series.
And that's a win for me.
See. It's a win for you, but it does automatically mean that in my universe those games are rubbish. Because they're not going to be on any top 10 list or any top 100 list or 1,000.
I'm pretty sure you said to me that your list was full of retro things. So chances are I have
No,
not
I said
played
it's got
those.
some retro things in it.
So you're gonna have
got-
let's say 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon. About 3 or 4 of your picks are gonna be retro. I will never have heard of them, and therefore they are disqualified.
As they go down the list, they get more and more desperate.
Just
I suspect that's true
steadily,
of both of us.
yeah.
Just things where I thought in the middle of the night, that in my wildest dreams, that maybe you could play it under a blanket, and it would count as stealth.
It just screams of desperation. Steadily getting more desperate as we go down the list. Did you? I ask this to you every week, and the answer is always yes. Has your list changed much since I first said, since you first said we're doing stealth games? Has your list changed that much?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I actually knew what the top game was going to be, but the other games in the list, it's because I keep thinking of things, and I go through lists of games, and I go through my old games and stuff, and I suddenly think, I'd forgotten about that one. Happens every time.
Yeah.
And for stealth, it was particularly interesting because I realised that stealth has a longer tradition than I thought. So it's and yeah, there's certainly one or two that I think are interesting and people won't have necessarily heard of.
So it's not going to be anything as
But there's also-
controversial as last week with our little first-person shooters. What is a first-person shooter? Is it a third-person shooter? Does that count? We're not going to have any of that today. We've done thorough research this week.
Yeah, it's the first person you see in the game. That's what counts.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. To be fair, actually, the game that you did choose last week could actually be used today if you want to go down that road.
Don't spoil things.
You could do that today. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. Now's your chance to bring it back out. Now's your time to bring it back out. But are you ready to, well, as you are my co-host, and I will always throw this over to you, are you ready to do a nice little coin flip to decide who goes first?
Yes, go ahead.
Right, as always, because there's only ever 2 options. It's not. We don't do some crazy 3-sided coin here. Heads or tails, Dars?
Tails.
Here we go. Heads. I have first pick for the second week in a row. I will take that.
Okay.
So, well, start as we mean
have
to
you
go on. Start as we mean to go on. Honestly, this one doesn't really have any. Like, it'll come as no surprise, this pick, so I'm not even going to build up. I'm not even going to build up the suspense on this one. My first pick is Metal Gear Solid, the first game in the Solid line. So, of course, you had your Metal Gears prior to that. But on PlayStation 1, Metal Gear Solid came along and just blew the whole genre wide open. I mean, I still personally think this holds up to this day. Some people might not, but I do. It's tactical espionage action. It's there, right on the box. It's right there on the box. It is amazing. Like, you can, for the most part, you are stealthing around, but obviously there is some action-y elements in there. You've got your boss fights and stuff like that. But ultimately, this is a out-and-out stealth game, playing as Solid Snake, an awesome video game character who is still going strong to this day. The series is still going strong to this day. In fact, they just released the I was going to say the Master Chief Collection. I've got Halo on the mind. They released the Metal Gear Solid selection of 1, 2, and 3, and they bundled in the Metal Gears as well, which is pretty cool. Really good game.
Metal Gear Solid game was the one where Solid Snake was on the Halo.
It's a classic. Well, you could argue that one of the Super Smash Bros. Games was Solid Snake's best outing, but hey, who am I to judge? And
is it on your list?
No, no. I don't think there's much stealthy about Super Smash Bros. To be honest, but
there is if you hide the controllers.
Have you done that before to people? I've done that to people.
Back in the old days, I was playing Crazy Rider, which was a great 8-bit motorcycle racing game. If I was playing somebody that was too good, I would unplug their joystick while they were playing.
I like that we're both petty like that because I've also done that. So I like that.
I was like
big fan of that.
I was about 9 years old at the time. But
I was late teens. Well,
yeah,
yeah, it's fine. You know, the pettiness grows out of you eventually.
no,
Maybe
it
in my
doesn't.
40s.
It gets worse.
I don't know.
It worse.
But I
So many old petty people.
I could probably say that out of all 20 picks today, mine may be the only one where you can go around the game in a cardboard box. I'm pretty confident in saying that, unless you're going to absolutely...
We have to think about that now.
Now you've got Cardboard Box Simulator or something coming up. But yeah, my first... There is. So my first pick, Metal Gear Solid. Dars, how are you going to counter that? I won't even throw to you, oh, what do you think of Metal Gear Solid? Because you haven't even played it. You haven't even played it. You haven't even bothered
How do you
to
know?
play my
No,
top
I haven't.
pick.
I haven't played any Metal Gear games.
Is there a reason for that, Dars?
I do actually own some. It's just one of those I've never actually got around to play them because I'm pretty sure I would really like them. But I just never got around to it.
They are good. You need to book out at least a year of your life for the cutscenes alone. But it is worth it.
Yeah, that's always a trouble. Long cutscenes. Yeah, right. So my one is Hitman 2016.
Ooh, good pick.
And the reason why I have picked one out of the World of Assassination trilogy is for the simple reason that it has Sapienza, which is the best Hitman level. And I know people disagree about this, but, well, no, actually, a lot of people do agree with me, actually, that Sapienza is the best Hitman level, hands down.
I think I agreed with you, did I not?
You might have done. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of the people like the Opera House and stuff from Blood Money, but no, Sapienza's in there. And it was the beginning of really a new golden age for Hitman. And I could easily put all of the World of Assassination trilogy into my list. But I'm going with Hitman 1 because it was the first one and it had Sapienza and it introduced what turned out to be years of exploration of some fantastic maps. And one or two really dismal ones.
I mean, it stood the test. I mean, it has stood the test of time. Like it
has still stood the test of time. I mean, I know that they've rolled it into the later versions of World of Assassination is now available as a block, and yeah, they've added things like Freelancer, but Freelancer has rejuvenated the whole thing. I mean, it's kind of on the way down again now, but that was so much fun to play as well, and I think Agent 47 is every bit as iconic a stealth character as Solid Snake.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Like, because it's had its mainstream crossover with the Hitman movies. Obviously, they are absolutely terrible.
Of course,
but they are. They are out there and they do exist. We are going to have a Metal Gear Solid movie at some point. I don't know how far along that is in development, but no, you're right. Yeah, Agent 47 is a great character. You instantly recognize that bold, shiny head with the barcode on the back.
The barcode on the back, yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very good. I love the Hitman series. I'm terrible at them, but I love the Hitman series. And I think for me as well, I'm the same as you. Like if I was to pick a Hitman series, and here's a little bit of a spoiler for you, I probably would have gone with Hitman 2016. I probably would have gone with that at some point, maybe in the next...
Are you constraining yourself to one game from a series, or will there be repetitions?
You will be absolutely shocked, right? When I tell you this, Dars, I have gone against every fiber of my being to make sure I didn't do that this week, just so nobody could say anything about it. Otherwise, we'd have a full list of Metal Gear Solids and Splinter Cells in here. So, I haven't done that this week. But that does segue perfectly into my second pick, which is, of course, a Splinter Cell game. Now, Splinter Cell is... when you look at the stealth characters, so you've got Solid Snake and we've got Agent 47 so far. Now, Sam Fisher, I believe, sits right up there with these two guys. He's a fantastic character, voiced by Mr. Ironside himself. Brilliant. And the series is really, really good. It's kind of tailed off a little bit as time goes on. It's kind of forgotten its roots. So you had Splinter Cell 1, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, Double Agent, and then it started to creep away a little bit. I mean, Blacklist was okay, but it it didn't really have that same oomph as the original ones, and hopefully one will come back. I believe they are doing a remaster of the first game, but that's by the by. My pick, and it was easy. If I had to pick, and I knew a Splinter Cell game was going to be my number 2, but if I had to pick one, I've had to go with Chaos Theory, which I do personally believe is the best Splinter Cell game, one of the best games released on the original Xbox. Absolutely gorgeous game. It takes everything from Splinter Cell and Pandora Tomorrow, bangs them both together, comes together as this complete stealth package. They added another element to it as well. So with Splinter Cell, the lighting played a big part. You know, if you're in the dark, then you're concealed and stuff like that. In Chaos Theory, they introduced the sound elements. So you have to be careful of where you were walking, terrain you were walking on, all that kind of stuff as well. So added another element to it. But for me, one thing that really stood out for Chaos Theory, and it maintained the stealth element that I love so much about it, was the Spies versus Mercenaries mode. So, they did have some co-op stealth missions that you could do, which were separate missions that tied into the main story, which were good. But Spies versus Mercenaries, like especially when you're playing as the spies trying to take out the mercs, really, really good. It is one of the best, and I will stand by this, it is one of the best multiplayer experiences that has ever existed. You've got 2 spies, you've got 2 mercs, both teams going against each other. The mercs from first person, the spies from the third person perspective. Really, really good. And the maps were great. The way you could traverse around as the spies, and like the mercs had their own little gadgets and stuff to try and weed the spies out and stuff. Oh, it was really good. Like a big old game of cat and mouse. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game. So Chaos Theory is my pick number 2. Daz, have you played any of the Splinter Cells?
Yes, I have. I played the first one, and we talked about this. Because, as you recall, I didn't complete it because I kind of thought it was a bit rubbish. What's your reaction to that, then?
Why did you think it was rubbish?
Because I was crap at it.
Well, there you go.
It was very frustrating. Get good, Scrum. The only thing I really remember about it was that because you've got that, that kind of helmet on with the 3 lenses, you know, that night vision thing.
The one that you definitely cannot see in the dark. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. There's that moment where you're going past a prison cell, and the guy in the cell I think he's in there for being drunk. You know, he just looks up and just goes, "What the hell are you supposed to be?" And I thought, yeah, that's basically it. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be. I think at that point, I just felt like, let's turn around and go home. I don't know what's going on.
Honestly, if you get the opportunity to play even Chaos Theory, it is available on Steam now. I don't know how well it plays on Steam. I'm just throwing that one out there as a little bit of a disclaimer if you do decide to pick it up.
Well, bear in mind, I have got a lot of different consoles. What one did Chaos Theory come out on again?
So this was original Xbox, but I believe it's backwards compatible. Okay,
I've still got an original Xbox, so.
Well, there you go. So I would, and when you actually look at it, because I was after last week's fiasco, I thought I better have a look at some games this week and just do a little bit of research. Like the graphics are really good. Like obviously they're not amazing, but they've held up pretty well. Like it was a gorgeous game when it first came out. Yeah, it stood up quite well. So does Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell for me, Hitman for you. Who is who's
Who?
Yeah, who?
Are we picking people now?
Oh, well, are you a multitude of people, or
I don't know what you're asking me now, because you started to go. You listed out the titles and you went, who?
Who? What? When? Why? Where? Who's your second pick? What's your second pick?
It's Batman Arkham Asylum. Now, a lot of people are going to go, why didn't you pick one of the other Arkham games? The reason being that I've only played Arkham Asylum. But at the same time, I really did love going, being able to go along those high levels, just drop down and pick people up and just tie them up, and no one else knew what you were doing. It was very satisfying to go through an entire map just picking people off one at a time, and nobody saw a thing. And I kind of thought that would be fun to do in real life.
Yeah. Batman Arkham Asylum's a good one, mate. Yeah, I quite like that one.
I mean, a lot of people say, it was in that combat flow thing and everything, but it really made me think. Actually, although I'd played stealth games before, it was a stealth game where I thought this is actually the stealth bits of this are actually fun. They're not a chore, and it made me think there's things you can do while you're being stealthy that are actually an end in themselves. So I credit it with making me think again about stealth games, where I previously thought of them as maybe a bit tiresome in some ways.
Yeah, Batman Arkham Asylum's a good one, to the point where it was actually my third pick. So a big FU for that. Yeah, it was. Because in my head I was like, has Dawes played this? I was like, I'll make sure it's in my top 4 so it doesn't get stolen. But lo and behold, here he comes, second pick in, Batman Arkham Asylum. It hurts. That was a painful one, that was. So the 2 picks you've gone for are 2 of my picks so far. Like, what is going on? But no, you are right. Like, Arkham Asylum is, it's fantastic. It is fantastic. It's a great pick. It is my favorite of the. Well, I've played them all, and it's my favorite of the Arkham games. So, yeah, it's a good pick. It's a good pick.
And of course, you got Mark Hamill as Joker as well, and he was
he's so good at it.
He is a very, very, very good Joker.
My favorite Joker, in fact. Oh, for God's sake! Right, okay. Right, I need to move stuff around because I don't want to risk that you take another one. I don't want to risk that you take another one of my picks. So I'm gonna have to respond in kind to this one. But before I jump in, let's have a look at some of the chat highlights here. So Sentan, I personally preferred Origins, but I do understand the pick of Asylum. But you never played any of the other ones, though, did you, Daz?
No, I didn't. I mean, I've actually got the others. It's just, again, I tend to pick games up and then not play them because I'm stupid. And I don't have as much time as I think I'm going to have. I'm sure it's brilliant. It's one of those things where it's like, Metal Gear Solid. It's where I think I really need to make time to play this because I'm sure it's brilliant. But there's work and everything else, and the fact that I always find stupid things to occupy my time that nobody else seems to care about. By the way, look out for my 3rd album, which will be coming out in a couple of months.
And there it is. And there, right. So, that's if you've got your draft that bingo card going on right now. You've got the album plug. There, you can tick that one off, and we'll wait for the next one that I'm sure will come up at some point. So Wolfie, Red Wolf. You will know. You'll do it. Chaos Theory was hands down my favorite stealth game I've played for most of my life. Yeah, I'm with you there, Wolfie. Well, obviously it's second on my list, but it would take a lot to top Metal Gear Solid. But yeah, Chaos Theory, fantastic. Yeah, I do recommend it if you haven't had the opportunity to play it. Very, very good game. Very, very good game. But now I need to rejig my list a little bit here. To avoid any potential steals or any potential duplicates at this point. So, yeah. I'm going to have to bump... Well, obviously, I'm most certainly going to have to bump out Arkham Asylum now, so that's gone. So, for me, my number 3 pick, to kind of cement it and just hope that Daz has picked it so I can upset him a little bit. My 3rd pick is Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. Is that one of yours?
No.
Damn it. But I've got it anyway. It's mine. It's mine. You can't have it. It is one of the best. I mean, we're talking about stealth games, but if we're talking about movie tie-ins, it is one of the best movie tie-ins that has ever been made, in my opinion. Very, very good game. It's a nice balance between heavy stealth sections, and it brings in some hand-to-hand combat in areas. It has guns as well, but ultimately you're going to be going through this game stealthily. You'll be using shivs, you'll be using clubs to knock people out, but the story is very, very good. Of course, the whole premise is you're escaping from Butcher Bay, one of the biggest prisons in the universe. And you get to play as a grunty, pre-Groot Vin Diesel. So if that's your tipple, then Escape from Butcher Bay might be for you. But it has, it was one of the most gorgeous games when that released. I mean, we're talking about Chaos Theory being really good looking, but Escape from Butcher Bay looked great on the original Xbox. And then, of course, they remastered it, or remade it. Remade. I don't know how, what tagline they threw on the end of it. For Xbox 360 as well. And, of course, I got both versions. But no, very, very good game. I wish I was going with Batman Arkham Asylum, but if I'm to find a replacement, yeah, I can't go much worse than Chronicles of Riddick. So, yeah, have you played this one, Daz?
No, but I did. I mean, it was one of those where, again, it's kind of on my list of things that I when I was going through a list of stealth games, I thought, yeah, that's another one I should have played. So I'm not surprised it's on your list. But yeah, all I can say is I haven't played it, so I don't know. I don't actually know if it's any good. But you say it is, so it probably is.
You can take my word for it. It is an absolute delight. An absolute delight. But how are you going to counter that one, Dawes? I imagine it's going to be something that is on my list that I've picked, and it's going to upset me. So you might as well rip off the Band-Aid. Go for it.
Well, I'm gonna have a run up with this one because I kind of stumbled about this one before. It's Sniper Elite V2. Everybody's first person stealth game. In my universe, Sniper Elite is a first person series. No, it was the first of the Sniper Elite games that I played. And that always gives a game a special place in my heart. But I liked it so much. I then went straight on and played 3. And when 4 came out, I played that. And when 5 came out, I got that too. The only one I haven't played is the first one, funny enough. And I think it's a great series. It really is. And yeah, everybody knows it's great fun to blow the enemy soldiers' balls off. But you can also, you get an achievement for it, But I also like... in the earlier ones, I think they kind of turned this off with the later ones, but where you could shoot you can still shoot into engines, but you actually saw the working engine, like you saw the body anatomy of a soldier. If you shot into like a car engine or like a truck engine, you would actually see the engine going, and you'd see the cylinders explode as the bullet went through, which is really neat as well.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, they were just really, really well made levels. There was a good feeling of threat, of danger that you really had to keep hidden. At the same time, as you gradually made your way through and took control of the area, and you found these little areas where you could pick people off and make an area safe, it just felt like you really were making progress. It was a great feeling of actually working towards an end. And I always thought they were really atmospheric games, really atmospheric. So, but yeah, Sniper Elite V2 in particular was the one I picked.
I mean, I like that and it's very much like Hitman in this way. There's many ways. In fact, actually, it's very much like this. I can apart from the older games that we've gone for. Obviously, stealth games are at their best when you've got multiple ways to approach a situation, and Sniper Elite was very much that. So.
Well, really only in the sense of the weapons you could choose, by and large. It's not like Hitman where, I mean, you can use damn near anything that you can think of. But Sniper Elite V2, it was more find a position, find a weapon that works, and, take advantage of what you've got with the cover you've got, and then move forward and reappraise again. You'll need an overall plan, but you need to be adaptable.
Yeah, and I like the little touch that I like with Sniper Elite. I don't know if they did it with the older ones, but with the newer ones, where you can take advantage of like a bolt of lightning or a bit of thunder or a firework going off.
Oh yeah,
to let off your shot and stuff like that. I like that little touch.
Yeah, or there's a firefight nearby or something where you can just hide that sound. Yeah, that's another great thing about you know stealth games that do it well, where you've got to think about everything. You've got to think people will hear you and stuff as well.
Yeah. And it's very well thought out. There's a lot that, or from a sniper's perspective, it's very, very well done. It's very, very well done. And I believe, which one are we up to? 5? Sniper Elite 5?
Well, yeah, 5 is the most.
Yeah, I think the only one I've actually played, I think, was 4, but I've seen plenty of the other games. Actually, I think Sniper Elite 5's just jumped into Game Pass, or it is about to inevitably. So yeah, I might play that. I might play it. But yeah, it's good to see.
Well, I recommend the older ones as well. I mean, as I said, I haven't tried number 1, but 2 and 3 were excellent as well.
But yeah, well, there's your third pick. It's nice to see Sniper Elite finally picked and be allowed to be picked this week. But let's have a look and see what some people have been saying in the chat. So we've got Helix. Escape from Butcher Bay was amazing, and the visuals at the time were unreal, and they were very, very good. And honestly, if you look at Butcher Bay now, it looks really, really good. It looks really, really good now. Red Wolf has said the X-ray aspect of the Sniper Elite games was the most satisfying, unique mechanic I've seen in a shooter. It's the reason I played Sniper Elite V2 so much in the arcade option for facing enemy waves.
You can face enemy waves, and of course they also have the extra. Always there's the bonus kill Hitler mission as well in each game.
Is that in every one of the games?
Yeah, unless I've missed one somewhere along the line, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's one in every game. But another thing I'd actually did with a couple of the Sniper Elite games was once I'd completed them, I then used kind of like a mod so I could then just look around the map and see how everybody started out and just see what their movements were, because it was really interesting to see how my estimate of how the soldiers were laid out and what their movements were compared to where they actually were. I thought that was pretty neat. With Hitman, of course, as you explore the maps, you find out for yourself with time, and that's part of it. But with Sniper Elite V2, you don't really have that exploration aspect, because ultimately you're working from a given start position to a given end position each time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it comes down to it was just great design.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to dive into a few of those, because the one I did play 4 was very enjoyable. I didn't get very far in it, but yeah, from what I played, it was good. I enjoyed it. Now, moving on to round 4, and the final of our concrete pick. So this is the last round where these picks cannot be stolen. So I've got to go big on this one, and I've got to go with... it's one of my favorite stealth games, otherwise it wouldn't be in my top 4. I've played this countless times, back when it first came out, and then since I've started streaming, it's been a mainstay on the channel. Actually, we play it at least once a year, I'd say. But it's Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation. It is. It's a different kind of stealth game. Everything else on this list, I mean, looking at what we've got so far, there's a lot of action in it. Action drives the story, in a lot of ways, as the stealth does. But with Alien Isolation, it is very stealth heavy. You're getting chased by the xenomorph, in some cases multiple, and the AI at the time, and even now playing it, was really, really good. It learns your movements and all that stuff, which makes it absolutely terrifying. If you've seen any of my streams, you know how I react to, Steve, as we lovingly call the alien. But I feel like I don't think there'll be a game that comes out that is quite like Alien Isolation, unless they bring out a sequel, which we're all hankering for. I'm trying to think of a monster or an enemy type in a movie that would kind of have the same feel, and I don't think
probably the polymorph from Red Dwarf, which was basically a rip-off of the Alien.
I don't think there is one that could really make you feel, shock horror, isolated, But no, it was really, really good. Like, you had a whole host of gadgets to try and distract the alien to move yourself around. There are bits where you're against the androids as opposed to the alien himself, and I think the game loses some of its magic around. Not to say it's bad, but obviously, like, it's Alien Isolation. You want to be facing the Xenomorph as much as you can.
Yeah, I remember you pooing yourself a fair bit when facing those androids as well.
But this is me. I jump at literally anything. Literally anything. I think a
Your
sock
own
was thrown
hand.
at me not that long ago. Yeah, my own hand and clipboards and everything. So yeah. But as a fourth pick, I needed to ensure, just like Chronicles of Riddick, that this one was not stolen. Which was also my mindset with Barkman. The Barkman Batman Asylum.
Barkman Axeman Asylum.
But yeah, I needed to make sure this one was safe. And it is safe. It is my number 4 pick, Alien Isolation. Great stealth game. Beautiful. Right. Well, have you played Alien Isolation? Or is it just something that you've watched?
I've just watched it. It looked to me like I would find it too repetitive almost, because it seems to be you're just running away from the Xenomorph all the time.
I mean, there is a lot of trial and error that comes with it, but that trial and error is, well, it's unpredictable because the aliens' movements are always different. So you never know where they're going to drop from. You never know where they're going to turn, where they're going to move. So it is... I'm
thinking a game that actually, now think about it, you need to play with a good headset as well. You couldn't just go with ambient audio, could you? You need to know where it's coming from.
Oh, sound plays a huge part. I don't know if it's a... You get some games that are recommended that you use headphones. I don't know if it says that in the game, but if you're going to play it, you need it. Like the sounds that you make, like even when the Xenomorph's like waiting up an event and you can see... Well, sometimes you don't see it. That's the beauty of it, and I've been caught by it numerous times. The drool coming down from the alien. Sometimes you don't see it, but you can hear him up in that vent. It's so much better with headphones. Really, really good game. Really, really good game.
But we should say, actually, to people that haven't seen it streams, if they haven't, they should. But also, Alien Isolation, you have played it at every difficulty level, haven't you? And with the hook.
I have. I'm the only person, as far as I'm aware, from doing the minimal research that I did, I'm the only person in the world to have completed that game with a pirate hook on any difficulty, but the only person to complete with a pirate hook on nightmare mode. So there is that. So yeah, thank you. That's me. This guy right here.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's good at that game.
Wow.
That and Clone Hero, we've discovered. He's very good at.
At least with, I was going to say, at least with Alien Isolation using the hook, I don't get the claw hand, but no, I did. I very much did holding that hook. But Daz, what's your return pick?
My number one for four is Dishonored.
You will make so somebody in chat has mentioned Dishonored. You will make them very, very happy. You've upset me, but you can make them very happy. You go ahead and tell everybody why Dishonored is a great game.
Dishonored is a great game. Dishonored is a great game. It largely because the thing that really appealed to me as soon as you get it is the blink thing, the ability to do that fast, not quite a teleport, where you're just moving really fast. But combine that with the stealth mechanics, that you get to use the environment in so many ways. And I know how the games do it as well, but there was this real sensation of being able to use every surface and every single thing. And the enemies in the game are brilliant. I love the ones that are carrying around the music boxes, although was that in Dishonored 2? I hope that was Dishonored 1.
Just move on, Daz, move on. Let's avoid controversy.
No, seriously, it doesn't really matter because, as I say, the whole thing was just, when I played Dishonored 1, I thought this was just felt brilliant. And it was one of the rare ones where I then played. It's got the sort of challenge mode as well, where I went on to do that because I thought, even when I completed the game, I really loved the mechanics in the game and wanted to keep doing it. What can I say? It was it was a brilliant idea. It sounds so vague, doesn't it?
You'll be happy to know as well, Dars, that somebody has confirmed in chat here that music boxes were indeed in Dishonored 1, so you can continue talking about the music boxes now.
Yeah. Well, I like that because I like mechanical music, you see, and the idea of making it creepy is brilliant for me. And also the fact that you're also dealing with enemies that have similar powers to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's quite different from dealing with snipers, because you're dealing effectively. You've got kind of magic in there as well. I mean, within the game, it's kind of a science, but it's you have to think in completely different ways. I never found I was using cover so much, but I was certainly having to think on my feet a lot. It was great. There was unusual for a stealth game to be always moving, to feel like you were always moving. Because so often in stealth games, you're finding a place just to hide and wait, or just do the perfect shot. Whereas I remember in Dishonored, it was don't be seen, but you've got to keep moving as well.
Yeah, it's encouraged. And, to be on the move. Yeah. No, it's a very good. I'm currently playing through Dishonored right now at the time of recording. It is.
By the way, there's no U in it. It's American. It's Americans, no U.
Oh, they've done that, have they? There we go. We'll remove the U for our friends over the other side. Yeah, and it also had one of my favorite, like like when you're playing a game and there's that moment that you're like, whoa. Okay,
what happened there?
That's a bit of flatulence there from chat. Let's turn that bot off.
Oh. Who got banned for doing that one?
Unbelievable. Well, that bot's off. But yeah, there's those bits at the start of certain games where you're like, whoa, what has just happened there? And one really sticks out for me with Dishonored, and you're going down through the sewers, and I think it's the first time you see the rats absolutely maul a guard like to pieces, like just completely rips the flesh off it. I'm just like, wow. It's really fun game, really, really good. So that's a good end to your concrete picks. The safe zone, yes. So
you call it concrete, I think of the safe zone.
The safe zone. To have a look at these before we move on to round 5. Where we're into no man's land. So my top 4 so far: Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay, and Alien Isolation. And Dars has all of my picks that I had originally: Hitman 2016, Batman: Arkham Asylum, Sniper Elite V2, and Dishonored. There are some bloody good games here.
By the way, notice that somehow I've managed to get things that you'd picked without even having to use stealth. It's having to use steel.
I know.
You can't do stealth without steel.
Well, could that change? Could that change with number 5?
Well, you can't because these are safe. You can't change these ones.
But you could take my number 5. You see.
Well, tell me what it is and we'll find out.
I will tell you what it is. So my number
then.
5. My number 5. Come on, get out. My number 5. And this one is, you know what? Actually, no. I'm not. When I was originally putting this together, I was kind of like, is this questionable? But then when you look at some of the games we've got on here, Batman: Arkham Asylum being the main one. And that was originally mine anyway. I don't feel bad for including this. My 5th pick is Assassin's Creed. I had to get one of these in here, and really, there's only one that I truly like. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which I personally believe is the best Assassin's Creed game that you can get today. Now, there are, of course, loads of elements to Assassin's Creed Black Flag that aren't stealth and are very, very enjoyable sections. So like when you're on the seas and you can sail around, you can fire cannons at all enemy ships and stuff like that. Exploration. Obviously there's the platforming element of the game as well. But ultimately you're playing as an assassin and there's a lot of stealth involved. Like 85% of the game is 100% stuff. It's Assassin's Creed. But no, it's very enjoyable. I quite like the story, and I'm not biased because of the pirate thing. I do actually... I definitely quite like the story. Because I honestly find most Assassin's Creed games quite boring. Truth be told, but Black Flag just was it was just a little bit different, and maybe that is the pirate thing, but this one was a standout for me, and especially from a stealth aspect. Like again, like it's got that not open world kind of feel to it, even though it is, but like you can approach the situation in different ways. If you're climbing up into one of the enemy forts, you can go, well, I could go this way, scale the side and attack guards that way, or I could literally go through the entrance and kind of hit my way through initially and then adopt stealth. Like you can approach things in different ways.
Well, it definitely feels more satisfying if you play it stealthy.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think that's the same for all of these games in this list. Like, if you can nail down... Because there are games that I suck at with the stealth, and I just go, screw this. I'm going in all guns blazing. But there is that satisfaction of doing everything stealthily, and Assassin's Creed is definitely one of those. So, have you played Black Flag? But where do you stand on Assassin's Creed as a whole?
Well, we haven't got through the whole list yet, have we?
Ooh.
I will say that Black Flag isn't on my list, but another one might be, but we'll see.
Interesting. Well, I'll happily tell you that there are no more Assassin's Creed games on my list, so I have no fear that you're going to pick something that I've gone for, which is nice. But could it be your pick number 5, Dars? Could it be?
No, my pick number 5 is the first one that dips its toe into retro. We go back to, I think it's 1988, I think it was. Hostages. Now, if nobody's played this, it's a game that plays in 3 stages. You're playing as anti-terrorists, as an anti-terrorist squad. And you first of all have to get your men in position. Basically, there's terrorists have taken hostages in an embassy. You have to get your men in position, avoid, without being seen by the terrorists. So you have to use the environment, the doorways, the walls, the other objects, and they are keeping watch on you. So you have to avoid their vision. Then you take up sniper positions and you try to pick off the terrorists that you can see. The second stage, and because what you're then doing is you're supporting the initial assault on the building. Then you switch to actually being the officers that are storming the building. You have to then get rid of the remaining terrorists and rescue the hostages and get them out safely. Now, the key thing is that first stage is real stealth. It's undebatable. It is a great example of an 8-bit stealth game. And if you've never tried it, you can actually play the whole game through really quite quickly because it's not that long. But it's knowing what to do. That's the thing. And I'd really recommend it. It's in some ways, I'm surprised that it hasn't spawned a franchise. Because you can imagine it being developed today.
Yeah, from what you just told, I've not heard of. The only time I heard of this was when I was doing research for this episode. But everything you just said there, like that screams like a modern day adaptation to me. Like that would sit very, very well now.
And I had an Acorn Electron when I was a kid. It was so successful. It was even ported onto that, and hardly any games are ported onto that. What I'll say is Hostages from the 80s. It's a great early stealth game.
Very, very good. And there we go. It only took us, I say only, we got to pick 5 before a retro game decided to rock up. So you've done well there. You've done well. But that sounds really good. That generally does sound really good. Like, is it easy? Well, I guess it's not that easily to pick up and grab these days. Unless it is. Unless you're going to drop a bomb and say you could easily find it and get it and play it.
You probably can, but I just load into an emulator. But it's
or there's that.
There is that. I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably on something somewhere. It may even be on Steam for all I know. But it's as I say, it was ported onto so many different platforms, and as I've said, it's just baffling that no one's really kept it alive as a franchise or revisited it.
Yeah, I mean that's from what you were saying. Yeah, you've made me very very curious about it. So I'm going to definitely. I mean, for anybody who's this is a live recording right now, but the replay does go up on YouTube, and you'll see gameplay footage of the picks we do. So I'm looking forward to when I'm doing that edit in the next couple of days, that I can have a look at Hostages properly and see what it's actually like. And I can guarantee I'll look at it and go, yeah, this would work for the modern day. Now, if we have a look at, let's see who, Red Wolf in chat here has asked a question. Remove the naval combat and ship sailing, would it still be your favourite? And of course, referring to Assassin's Creed 4 there. Yes, it would be. Yes, it would be. I just find it's... I like the maps. I like the layout of everything. I like the time period. And Assassin's Creed game, it's a lot about the time periods. And I particularly like that one. There's some that are just a bit like, really? I'm not really that interested in. Mirage doesn't really interest me. You know, stuff like that. But, yeah, it would still be my favorite, I would say, Red Wolf. Still be my favorite. But let's have a look at pick number 6. Now, my list has gone completely out of the whack, so I'm having to make this up as I go along here. I'm going to...
That was a great game.
That was a good game. Available on the SNES. I'm gonna go with something that I haven't actually finished. I haven't actually finished this game. But from one I've played of it so far, honestly, it is worthy of a place in my top 10. And it's my second pirate game on this list. And it's Shadow Gambit. And like I said, I'm currently playing through this at the time of recording on Twitch. I've put some good hours into it so far. And I'm not even that deep into the game. We've still got quite a few characters that I need to unlock and to be able to play as them. But it is a top-down tactical stealth game. Very much, I say it's a little bit like XCOM in a way of how you set things up. But the stealth elements are like front and center of the game. You utilize the abilities of the various characters that you can choose to put into whatever level that you go into, and anything can be tackled in any way. And so far, it has honestly made a really, really big impression on me, to the point where I honestly think this is probably going to be in my Twitch playlist for the next year. I think we've still got many, many hours to go in this. And that's not even including any of the DLCs. But it's something I've not played a game like this. Like I say, it's a little bit like XCOM, a little bit like Commando, but it's got its own little charm. Like the art style to it is really, really good. The mechanics, I love them. The way you can save time, like it's like you can create like checkpoints. It's very much trial and error. Like if you die, it's not the be all and end all. You can go back and reassess and try one of your various attacks a different way. Yeah, it's really, really... The story's quite interesting as well. And yeah, this one only went in today. This wasn't in my original list. But when I was actually looking at it, I figured actually, I was like, well, what stealth games actually are out there that I have played? And I was like, I'm playing one right now. And it's brilliant. So yeah, Shadow Gambit is my number 6, and I don't think you have played it, Dars. But from what you've seen, what do you think about it?
Well, I have played a game very much like it, and so I'm pretty sure I know what it's like. And if I may, I will segue this into my choice for number 6, which just happens to be Shadow Tactics: Blade of the Shogun.
Nice.
By the same team. Which is basically the same engine. But whereas yours is Pirates, this one is Japan. And it's it's a great system. The fact that you can switch with different characters that got these different abilities. You have that same thing with the view cone where height is importance. And you're having to use objects as well that takes a certain amount of time. So judging, you've got the timing aspect as well, that use of cover, but at the same time that sort of isometric view. and you're having to plan the motions of the people that you've got and selecting your team appropriately. It's I think they are really, really imaginative games, and it's that great thing about Stealth as well. There are so many ways that you can do a given map.
And there's a lot of replayability to that as well, which I like.
There's a lot of replayability. The only thing I'll say about them is that the maps feel quite long. In that, and I know maybe you haven't felt they were too long, but
oh well, I spent an hour and a half on one level the other day and still didn't scratch the surface.
It's a great time sink. It's a great time sink that you'll start out and you'll get so absorbed just moving things around like a massive chessboard, gradually claiming territory and moving in, and this bit and this bit, and I need to get over here, and maybe something goes wrong, and oh no, move in from over here around there, and now okay, and then before you know it, it's midnight, or half past midnight as it is right now. The time just gets away from you. To be fair, I've had that with Sniper Elite as well. You get really caught up into it, and you think, well, where did the time go? But it's a really good engine. I know they've done other games. I don't know if any of their other games use the same engine, but the funny thing is, when I first saw you playing Shadow Gambit, I found myself thinking, is this Shadow Tactics? But it's got pirates in it. And then I eventually realised, it's the same developers. Yeah.
So we know what we're playing after my Shadow Gambit playthrough then, right? Jump into some Shadow Tactics. I love that we've both got that as our sick friend.
I know, it's quite a coincidence. It really is. That is literally the order on my list. I haven't had to alter the order of my list at all so far.
I love that. Two very similar games, obviously by the same developer. Yeah, really, really good. And if I haven't personally played Shadow Tactics, but if it's anything like Shadow Gambit, it's going to be good. So if anyone hasn't played any of those two picks there, I highly recommend that you jump in and grab them now. Pick number 7, Dars. Now I'm actually I'm already into my reserves. I don't have many left because you've picked what 1, 2, 3 of my games so far. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna bump one up. I'm gonna bump one up that was a bit lower down. And it was lower down because I haven't played it in such a long time, but I do remember it being fantastic. I know it is an amazing, amazing stealth game. I'm going with Thief 2. Thief 2 it's probably let me have a look at my list here. I think it's the oldest game on my list. But it's one of the, it's actually, every single Draft That episode, right? I always talk about nostalgia, and a lot of these lists are buried in the stuff. But for me, Thief 2 is that. It is that for me. My dad had this game, and I saw him play it all the time. And I figured, there was one day where he said, look, you can go on the PC, you can play whatever you want, great parenting. And I decided to go with Thief 2, just because I'd seen him play it a lot. Naturally, I was terrible at it. I was just going around whacking everybody with a blackjack. There was no stealth going on in that game. But I've since played it when I've been a little bit younger, a little bit older. I've gone back in time. Benjamin
you got younger. It's definitely a game for the toddlers.
Yeah, 100%. My kids play it all the time. It's really, really good. Like, if you're looking at the stealth genre and things that pave the way and set new ground, Thief 2 is really good. Like, the lighting of it was like how you had to play around with that. Sound played a huge part in Thief 2, and we've talked about Chaos Theory and the sound elements to that, and Alien Isolation. Thief 2 did it first. And you can approach things in different ways. And I like the fact it's very steampunk. The setting to it as well. I do love a bit of steampunk. It's a great stealth game. I think it's probably regarded as one of the best. And it's a series that I think they brought I think they just called it Thief. Was the last one that came out, and I think it was okay. But the franchise or the series has just kind of died off a little bit. I would love to see a return to Thief, because I see a lot of Dishonored in it in a way.
Oh yeah.
So I'd very much like a little bit of Thief to come back. It's good. Did you play much Thief, Dars? I imagine this is one that you have.
I have played Thief 2. And it's the first on the PC, what you think of as a modern stealth game that I played. And it might surprise you. This goes back to what I was saying about Arkham Asylum. That actually I didn't really click with Thief 2. I mean, I played it a fair way in, but I never completed it back in the day. Because I actually at the time I kind of felt like the stealth was too much work. It was a chore, and it was too stressful just listening for everything. And it wasn't until Arkham Asylum that I suddenly realised actually I can play stealth in a way that is actually fun, because it opens up possibilities. It doesn't just restrict you. And I really should go back actually and redo Thief 2 with that in mind. But for that was it was almost it kind of like it was a reserve at the bottom of an honourable mention, because I have played it but I haven't completed it. And yeah, I mean it is a classic, but I'm not surprised you picked it.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Very, very good. I enjoy it. I'll probably look to go back to it at some point. And again, it's like most things. Like when we're doing these lists, you kind of go, God, that was a good game. Like I should revisit that. And then you're back to square one. You go, I got too many bloody games. Can't get through them all. But pick 7 for you, Daz. How are you going to return fire on Thief 2?
Well, it's going to be a 2D platformer, but a relatively modern one. It's Gunpoint. Have you ever played this?
I've not heard of it. I've not heard of this one.
You should. It's an indie game, stealth stroke puzzle, but it's very stealthy. It's like 10 minutes into the future. You are a spy, and you are basically trying to get past guards, and you're trying to perform various missions. Well, it's obvious that's the way it always works. But it turns into a mystery. It turns into like a murder mystery as the game progresses. There's an underlying current, and you find yourself dealing with the police and stuff. And it uses stealth in such an effective way in a 2D world, but in a kind of high-tech way as well. I mean, you haven't heard of it, I'd definitely say give it a go. And it shows that, a really good imaginative way of dealing with, of making a modern, indie stealth game.
And that you say that's quite a modern release, that one.
2013.
Oh, 2013. Oh, so you could play it now and it'd be completely playable. You're not going to have bugs and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's on Steam and everything. I mean, when I say modern, I'm meaning not retro. I mean, yes, I know 2013 is retro, but you can still
don't say that, Daz. Don't say that 2013 is retro. Make me feel old. Don't do that.
I know, but but what I mean is, you can, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to get, some weird old installer from Good Old Games or something to get it to run. You can just get it off Steam and it will just play. Yeah. So Gunpoint.
Oh, interesting pick. I like the sound of it. So yeah, the two that I haven't heard of, so Hostage and Gunpoint, which sound like they're in the same series. The
funny thing is, Hostages, the first bit, the first 2 bits are kind of 2D, but the third bit is actually 3D third person. But it's kind of that weird where you turn at 90-degree angles every time. So it's orthogonal. You can't turn diagonally, but nonetheless, it is a third person shooter. But yeah, it's another reason that Hostages is ahead of its time. But yeah, Gunpoint is 2D.
Interesting pick. I do like a 2D platformer as well, actually. Big fan of the 2D platformer. However, my next pick is not a 2D platformer. So I'm gonna have to dip into the reserves here, because you have picked a couple of mine to this point, and I'm gonna go with something that honestly it was one of those ones that I was thinking stealth games. What stealth games have I played over the years? And then this one just Obi-Wan Hello There itself from the very, very deepest parts of the back of my head. And there ain't much going on back there, so it was quite easy to see. I just it looks past it. It's Prisoner of War off the PS2, and it was essentially you were playing The Great Escape, but in a video game. Like, it was a really, really interesting, an interesting concept at the time. Honestly, it would actually probably still be an interesting concept now if they brought something out quite like it. But you play as an American captain who gets shot down, and he's taken to a POW camp. And from there, it's all about obviously escaping the POW, but you can do it in different ways. And there are games that have done something similar, like prison-based games, and I forget what it's called. It's like Prison Architect or something like that, where you follow like the routine through the day. So you got like morning roll call, lunch, you got to eat, exercise, all that kind of stuff. It's like that. So you follow the format, but at these certain points in the day, like certain areas become available, guards go off the beaten track, so you're able to then sneak around and do bits and bobs. But it's interesting in a way that it's got a few locations as well. Like, you end up in a castle at the end of the game, but you can tackle it in different ways. There's like you can pay for information using the currency in there. Get cigarettes, exactly how you would imagine like a World War II POW camp to be like. And it was a really interesting take on the stealth games. I haven't played this since I was a kid, but I remember back then it was very, very good. And there wasn't that much violence in it either. It was like very, very like, the objective of the game is to escape the camp. That was it, through any means necessary, all by the means of stealth. And what I will say is, this game is host to one of the worst German accents that you will find in any video game ever made. Like, they are fucking horrendous. So if that's your bag, check out Prisoners of War. But no, a very, very good game. Very, very good game. And if this was ever like remastered or remade or whatever, like, I would get it. I think the concept, I believe, definitely stands the test of time. Did you play this one?
Funny thing. No, I hadn't heard of it before, but as soon as you started to describe it, it did remind me of an 8-bit game, which was The Great Escape, where you are in a prison camp. It's isometric, third person, and the objective is to escape the camp by any means necessary. And you can tunnel, you can bribe the guards, and all. I think there's 3 major ways that you can escape, it does have stealth elements to it. I could have picked it, actually. But I almost think, have a look at some videos of that sometime and see if you think there's a similarity, because it sounds almost as if it may have been I looked on the Wikipedia page for Prisoner of War to see if maybe it had been a kind of an update of that previous game, but it certainly sounds a very similar idea.
I imagine. So you probably look at it, it's the third person version. I mean, like, it essentially is The Great Escape. The whole premise is, Prisoner of War. It's hard to funny, I think it's hard to escape it. But they
probably had the same idea independently. Yeah. But it's it certainly sounds interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I believe it was released on PC as well. So I can. Well, I know we've talked about some games that probably won't work anymore. I imagine that's one that won't. So if you are wanting to try that out, good luck. That's all I'll say. Now, pick 8 for you, Dars. What are you going for?
Pick 8 for me is going to be a game that you refuse to play.
Okay.
A game which I, some time ago, got when I frequented another channel. The streamer got hold of this game, and I got hold of it, and we played it a lot. She still plays it obsessively and has like really high rank. I stopped playing it ages ago, although I could still pick it up. It's Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's without doubt it's got a very strong stealth aspect, because you're certainly if you're playing as a survivor, because you're trying to avoid being seen by the killer, and you know, you have to sneak around, you have to use the environment, you've got all sorts of weird, wonderful powers that you pick up via perks and stuff. Yeah, I mean, some people love it. It's just one of those multiplayer games where if you're with a good group, it can be fun. But I always find those things get repetitive for me after a while, so I didn't stick with it. But I put it in there because I did spend hours playing it, and I had some good times with it.
Yeah, and I've not played Dead by Daylight, but I have played like the ones that are, you know, clones of it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was the latest one that I did.
That's very close.
There are,
and the fact is, it was well with Dead by Daylight. Of course, I mean, it has the charm of you've got the licensed characters in there from Silent Hill. They had Stranger Things for a while, even though we don't like Stranger Things. They had Saw. They had Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Ghostface has been in that as well.
Ghostface has been in there. Freddy Krueger. Yeah. There's it's been. We're campaigning to have Mr. Blobby in there, but it would have. It lends itself to pretty much every slasher killer or every supernatural force you can think of. It's a brilliant idea for an ongoing game. But yeah. What can I say? If you haven't tried it, give it a go. But it's, as with all online multiplayer games where there's people that are obsessively playing it, it can have a bit of a toxic community at times. But that's the downside.
Yeah, I was quite surprised that you've gone with that, but it's not one that I would have. It's not one that I would have thought of to include, but it is. I mean, it's like I said with Chaos Theory. You've got that mercs versus spies element of the multiplayer side, and obviously, if you're the merc, you ain't doing any stealth. You're on the hunt. But when you're the spy, that you're 100% stealthing around. It's very much like that with Dead by Daylight. If you're a survivor, you're hiding, you're moving around, trying to do stuff unseen. So yes, very much in the stealth bracket. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's an outside the box one. But nah, that's a good pick. Yeah, like you said, like a lot of people love that game. I like I said, I haven't played it, but I've played games in the genre. And I think it is a good genre. It is a fun genre. It does get repetitive. I'm with you. I don't play Texas Chainsaw Massacre as much as I used to now. But when you initially get stuck in it, or you get like new batch of licensed characters that come in, you get suckered back in again. You're always going to have a good time. Yes, especially when you with people that that and you can build up a rapport and all that stuff. But yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Never would have thought of that one. So yeah, I like that that's been included in the 20 that we've got. So yeah, nice one. Like that.
Is chat saying anything?
Well, let's find out what chat is saying. And I'm literally going to put up a I'm going to put up it's like 4 letters. It's like 4 letters, but it will say everything that
4 letters. What is it? Just fuck.
No, it's Sentan. So as soon as you said it, I guess. So refuting the stealth element side of it. But no, Sentan's gone on to say that it's evolved a little bit from what it was. But I still think there's very much like stealth elements in there, right?
Oh, unquestionably. I mean, if you don't think it's stealthy, I don't know what game you're playing. It's a very stealthy game. It's not. It's not that kind of considered stealth. It's much stealth and panic. Yeah, it's less stealthy than it used to be, but at the same time, it's still like stealth survival thing.
No, it's good. No, I'm glad. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad that's gone in there. Right. Oh, no steals so far, by the way. Very shocked at this point. I've been fed disappointment in different ways in this episode with you picking stuff that was in my top 10 as opposed to steals. So it's kind of like a steal, really. I don't know if you'll do this one. But we've been talking about, controversial games in that, are they stealth? The elements, do they exist enough in the game to justify
We're getting
it as
into
a
that
stealth
territory
game?
now.
This one is just flat out controversial across the board. Take away the stealth aspect of it, it's just controversial. My number 9 pick is Manhunt.
Yeah, I was waiting. As soon as you said controversial, I knew you were going to pick Manhunt.
One of the most controversial games of all time. I believe it's banned still in a couple of countries. I might be wrong, but this game was disgustingly brutal, and I loved it. And it was one of those games I played when I was like 12, 13. Again,
Wow.
great parenting. Cheers, Dad. I turned out fine. But like I remember this. This is one of my like core memories. Is it was Christmas. It was the Christmas that I got a GameCube, and this is the funny thing is, right? So for this Christmas, I got a GameCube, and the game I got with the GameCube was The Incredibles, the movie tie-in game, right? And then the next present I opened was also a game case. I thought, oh, it's another GameCube game. It was Manhunt. So I went from The Incredibles to Manhunt. And I played. We fired it up because I'd seen like a few bits on it, and it was Rockstar. I played a lot of GTA 3 again. Great parenting. And I was like, I want to give this a go. Let's play this, Dad. So we put it on. And like within the first 10 minutes of the game, you've got a plastic bag over somebody's head and you're suffocating them. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But yeah, like if you take away like because that's what everyone focuses on with Manhunt, the controversy side of it and how brutal it is. But the stealth aspect of it, I mean, it's not aged well now, but. Again, I saw somebody mention the amount of sound games that I'm incorporating, but this also had a lot of sound to do it as well. You know, you step on certain terrain, you know, you'll create a lot of noise, or certain actions or certain attacks that you do are louder than others. Obviously, like if you decide to, you know, shoot people up and stuff. But the mechanics were really, really good. Like it was one of those. It's one of those stealth games where you know the enemies have their patrol paths, and you know you got to learn what they do. And then you go about, you pick them off one by one, and away you go. It's like some elements you could just run and gun. But I actually I mean, the story is what it is, but I actually quite enjoyed the story. Thought it was, you know, you're some guy that's been caught. You've got a director who is filming you. It's essentially a snuff movie going through it. And I quite enjoyed it. Like, and it's one of those ones that I see it every now and then. I see it pop up on Steam. Or I'll see it on sale on the Xbox. I go, oh, I'd love to go back to it. And then I go, well, in the evenings I stream, so I wouldn't really be able to play it then. And during the day, the kids are about, and they ain't seeing this game. So it'll be one of those that I play like years from now. Yeah, I'm not going to be my dad. Okay, yeah, jump in here. Look at this game. He's just shot his head half off. And I love that when you one of the because you could they were tiered. The kills were tiered. I can see why it's controversial. Yeah, like green kills, you had your amber kills, you had your red kills, and I believe the shotgun one was you literally blew a donut into somebody's head. And I wouldn't really want my kids to see that.
In the UK, because the press blamed it for inspiring a murder, didn't they? They said that the killer had a copy of the game. Although it turned out that there was the victim that actually had a copy of the game, and the police found that it had no connection to the game whatsoever. But, you know, press and politicians, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, so you've gone for a repulsive game that no person in their right mind would ever play, and that's you're being really stealthy about it by putting it near the bottom of the list. I dread to think what your number 10 is going to be.
Oh, my number 10. Well, it's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Manhunt 2.
Anyway, my number 9 is swiftly moving on. This one is going to be a controversial one in lots of ways, but not for the same reason. And it suddenly occurred to me that this is a stealthy game. And I found some debates about this online, but it's generally not regarded as a stealth game. But I'm damn it going to say that it is a stealth game. This is, from 1986, Jeff Crammond's classic, The Sentinel, which is a 3D game, first person, where you are playing... it's often described as a puzzle game. What is happening is that you've got to make it... You're in a 3D environment, and as you look around, you can absorb anything that is lower than you. But anything that's above you that sees you, particularly the Sentinel, can absorb you. What you've got to do is absorb trees so that you can get to a higher position and eventually absorb the Sentinel by getting into his position. Now, the Sentinel is always rotating and always watching for you. So you can't ever be in a position where the Sentinel can see you. That, if it's not stealth, that is stealth right there. You have to constantly be aware of where the Sentinel is as you're trying to move around and find where these the right tree is that you can get at this particular position to move up a level without being seen by the Sentinel. Because if he sees you just once, you're dead. Now, in the 2000s, Jeff Kremen remade the game for Windows, although I think it's probably rather difficult to get working these days. And it was a very good remake, because back in the 80s, computers at the time, the screen updates were very slow. I think it was like 2 seconds per screen update because it was solid 3D graphics. But at the same time, people liked it because it gave it a sense of, oh, you've got a little bit of time to think. So, okay. But at the same time, if you know the Sentinel is looking towards you, there's 2 seconds where you think, I'm dead and there's nothing I can do. But updating it so that you can play it with a mouse on more modern systems with, much faster screen update, I found it made it more intense personally, and I thought it really came into its own. But yeah, that's the one I've picked for number 9, the Sentinel.
Interesting. There seems to be. I mean, I've not. Again, it's not one that I've heard of, but it seems to share some elements of Alien Isolation in that way. Like it's very much in that if the alien sees you, like it's very much like yeah, we're screwed.
But imagine the alien doesn't move, and that it's just sitting, rotating slowly, like a lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the beam hits you, you're dead. And I suppose that's why people would say, "Oh, it's not really stealth," but it's that element of you've got to avoid being seen.
Yeah. No, I'll have that as a stealth game.
I would certainly say that it's in some ways it sort of anticipates stealth mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So what's your number 10?
Well, this is another, unless I steal the Sentinel, which I won't. This is another week where I haven't stolen a game. Or stolen a pick. So that's a thing. I'm not even using my own bloody power-ups. Although, if you had Hitman, if you had Batman Arkham, and if you had Dishonored outside of the 4, they would have been stolen. So stolen would have been used today had they been available, but they're not, unfortunately. But my number 10 pick, honestly, is my last thing. Well, actually, no, I've got 2 things. It's between 2 games. I've got one that was, these are both on my honorable mentions. I've had to draft them in because, you've picked my picks. And I'm going to go with the one, like both, there's one that is ultimately the stealth game out of the 2. The one I'm going for is more questionable. However, the way I approached that game was 100% stealth, where it could be done. And because it's the one I played more recently and I remember it more, and we'll go through honorable mentions briefly at the end of our draft here, and I'll tell you what the other one is. I think you've played this one, Daz. Watch Dogs 2 is my...
Yes, I have played it.
Is my pick number 10. And I know people are going, that's not a stealth game, Ditz. No. It is. It can be. You can make it a stealth game if you want to. And that's how I always approached everything. You can go gun-ho in there, but you're going to get overwhelmed by enemies very, very quickly. I much prefer to sit back, hack my way around the levels with people's devices, or the equipment around the areas. I would regard this as a stealth game. Obviously, it's got the GTA cloneness of it. It is what it is, but the stealth elements do play a huge part. And this is the only Watch Dogs game I've enjoyed. I thought the first one was a bit boring. To be honest, I never played Legion. But I haven't really heard that.
I didn't play Legion because I thought it looked a bit stupid. This whole old people plus, and it's just going to be people doing crappy English accents. And I thought, no,
not for me.
Through hours of that.
But Watch Dogs 2, I love the setting of the game. I love the humor. I thought it looked fantastic. But yeah, the stealth elements really stood out for me in the second game. So Watch Dogs 2 is my number 10 pick, and I'm pretty happy that I've had to bring that one in actually. But I would have found it hard. My original list. It would have been hard to find a place. For me. Oh really? Okay.
Watch Dogs 2. I totally agree. It's a great stealth game. I liked Watch Dogs 1, and I remember talking to someone at work. He was going off to talk to some guys at Ubisoft, and we were talking about Watch Dogs 2. It was about to come out at that time. And I said it looked good even from the trailer, and it's right. I was right. It really did turn out well. So yeah, I'm glad you picked it.
Very, very good.
So I'm looking at my list and I'm thinking, am I going to vary the one that is actually number 10 on my list, or am I going to stick with the choice? Because it's another one where people could argue about it, but then again, I'm going to say, you decide you'd be brave there. Why not? Let's go with it. The Hunter Call of the Wild. By the way, the Hunter is one word with a lowercase t, uppercase H. And what this is, it's basically a hunting simulator. You're basically in different environments, and you're trying to you've got rangers there, and they're telling you, they'll give you missions and stuff. And sometimes it's you've got to get a picture of an animal, you've got to track one down. Sometimes it's you've got to get you've got to lower the number of animals in a certain population. You can't over hunt a particular species in a particular area, and there's different weapons you can get, and you've got to use the right weapons for the right animals and so on. Lots of different variety in the areas. It's surprisingly relaxing, but the learning to actually track the animals without them seeing you is so difficult. I had to watch so many videos, so much practice to get so that you can follow the tracks without them picking up your scent or hearing you or seeing you. It is so heavy on the stealth, and there's no storyline. Well, there is kind of like a little storyline to each one if you do the ranger missions, but at the same time, it's kind of stealth in its purest sense, in that you're just trying to track down an animal and either photograph it or ultimately shoot it. So, and there will be people that disagree with that, but it is only a video game after all. If you want that kind of, going out into the wilds, into the landscape, and exploring, seeing all these things, maybe climbing up a mountain, and there's all sorts of things hidden around, things to find, things to uncover.
Is it like
it really is
one big map?
No, it's lots of different maps in different areas, but each map is enormous.
Okay.
They are huge. I mean, you've got areas where there's wide open plains and there's marshy areas and there's mountains. There's others where I haven't gone through all the maps that I've got. There's areas that are out in the desert and somewhere you've got lions and stuff. And it is a great experience. It really is. I mean, you've just got to have a hell of a lot of patience. And sometimes I found that I didn't have enough patience. It was like you might have to think like, oh, get 5 of this particular species of wading bird from this area, and you think, oh, I saw some the other day, and now the other day I walked right into a load of them and didn't move, and now I can't for the life of it. I know they're there. I can see their tracks, but because I'm following them, they know I'm following, and they are just panicking, and I haven't got a hope in out. You spend hours just following the same animal around and around and around because it's just ahead of you all the time. It knows what you're doing before you know what you're doing. But it's such a chilled out game. But at the same time, oddly stressful.
No, it sounds.
But I got it because I thought I'm not into hunting or anything like that. But I thought it would be interesting to see what this game is like, and I got it, and it just drew me in. It's just there's such a lot of depth to it. Yeah,
because
that
kind of game
could be. List, but
yeah, it could have easily gone the one-dimensional route with the premise, but I'm glad that it's.
Well, it's supposed to recreate the actual experience of going out and hunting, or going out into the woods, or out into the mountains, or into wherever. It's supposed every aspect of that is supposed to be simulated, except for the fact that you're just sitting in a chair. But other than that, it's the simulation of the animals is really, really accurate and really, really well done, and it just, as I said, draws you in. It really does, and you actually learn a lot about different areas of the world as well, and the animals that you find there, because you pick up one. And even you can get trophy ones, and there's ones that you can give for scientific research, and there's different things like that. And there's you can set up like your own little house in certain areas, with your own sort of lodge there. There's a lot more to it than you might think there would be.
Well, the fact that you
yeah.
haven't even gone through it all yet.
Well, yeah, but it's because the maps are so huge. I mean, and you can set yourself these little tasks like that mountain. Can I get to the top of that mountain? Can I find a way of getting up to the top of it? And you get up there, and the view just will blow you away. The graphics on it are amazing. Actually, I'll send you some screenshots at some point.
Please do, yeah.
But I now want to get back and playing that again because it was very enjoyable.
Well, to be fair, anybody who's watching the replay on YouTube, you'll be able to see the gameplay that Daz is talking about there. But yeah, I like that as a final pick. I like that we've both gone a little bit, out there with the final two. More so you, because I mean, ultimately, yeah, it is a stealth game. You are right, and we said this before. As long as you could justify the stealth elements of whatever games we decided to pick today, then as far as we're concerned, yeah, it falls into that category. So yeah, that 100% is another one of those that does. So yeah, interesting final pick. And there we go. We have our 20. Some absolute bangers in this list, or both lists.
Yeah. Now, did you notice we did? I don't think we did a version of a series, did we? The closest we got was Shadow Gambit and Shadow Tactics.
Yes. And I was well. Don't get me wrong. The temptation was there to include multiple Metal Gears and multiple Splinter Cells, but I
mine was
against it.
I could easily included multiple Hitman and multiple Sniper Elite and Dishonored 2, and it could have. And as I say, I mentioned Assassin's Creed. In the end, we didn't get that far down the list because it was in my reserves. But the Assassin's Creed game I would have picked was Rogue, which was the one that followed Black Flag, and that also has some of the same naval stuff in it, although it's not as heavy. But I did like Rogue. Although, don't me moaning about accents, yes, the guy's Irish accent is pretty bad, but at the same time, the game was compelling. It was one of those times where I was hypocritical. So, what were your honourable mentions?
So, I really only have, two left, actually. My first one was a Hitman game, Hitman 2, Silent Assassin. That would have gone in, but it was always an honourable mention, that one anyway. But I really wanted Hitman 2016, and because I didn't get that, I was kind of like, well, I don't want to settle just for Hitman 2 just because Daz went for the one I wanted. So that remains an honourable mention. And the other one was it's a series that has been forgotten, and it was the first Tenchu game. I don't know if you ever played any of those ones, but it was like Sekiro, but like on the PlayStation 1 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It was very, very good. And I debated that was what I was debating between Watch Dogs 2 and Tenchu. But ultimately, I think I enjoyed Watch Dogs 2 more, and I've just played it more recently as well. But no, Tenchu's a good series, but yeah, it just died. It just died a death. But yeah, a lot of my other picks here. Prisoner of War was another honourable mention that I had to bring in. Manhunt was another honourable mention. So yeah, there's some good ones in there. And there's loads, like you said, there's loads more we could have gone for. Loads of Splinter Cells, loads of Metal Gear Solids, Dishonored 2.
Well, I was thinking of Hitman Blood Money as well. I mean, I mentioned it, but if we'd gone, the next one after that on the list would have been Hitman Blood Money. I would have brought that in as the next one. Other than that, I had Aragami, Untitled Goose Game, of course, which has stealth.
Nice.
The Ship. And a couple of outliers from the retro world. One was iRobot, which, similarly to Sentinel, has the fact that you can't. That if the big face at the back sees you jumping, then you die. But that really is not nearly so stealthy. But at the same time, I was gonna if I'd had to do that and you'd stolen guns from me and there'd be lots of collisions, I would have thrown that in and argued with you that it would count, but not I'll say it wouldn't count. But that said, if you haven't played iRobot, it's a really early Solid 3D game, arcade machine. Give it a go. It's a lot of fun, and incredibly, the camera never gets stuck behind anything either. And when I was looking through Wikipedia at stealth games, one that's mentioned as a precursor, would you believe, is Pac-Man. So I thought,
That classic stealth game.
I made a note of that just to say, well, Wikipedia says.
Interesting. I mean,
But I'm actually happy with the list that we've got there. I think we've covered a lot of points.
yeah, and it's quite it's a nice little diverse list that we've got as well. There's obviously some that that walk the same line, but there's a few different ones in there as well. And I mean, you've got an argument for both lists, if I'm being honest. And speaking of which, if for the live recording's sake, of course, we do vote on who wins, who is able to draft the best list. And that voting starts on the live recording. So if we've got a mod who is in the live recording now, if you could set up a poll to see who has won this side of the voting, but then we get votes on both Twitter and in the Discord as well. But I think this one will be. I think this one will be pretty close. You know, I think this one will be pretty close.
That's what we always say, and then you win.
Well, it was a lot closer last week, to be fair.
The thing is, it is the Project Dits channel. You know, that's I'm working at a disadvantage here.
I don't know. I would say a lot of people would.
Come on, Hitman fans, come on.
Yeah, go on. Hitman and Batman fans.
Hitman and Batman, pretend you don't like Metal Gear Solid or Splinter Cell anymore.
Well, there you go. Sentan in the chat here. Dars, you've got his vote, so there you go.
Thank you, Sentan.
There you go. So you're already one up. But yeah, so we'll have the polls across the free platforms there. The winner will be announced or will be available to see on my social media channels and on the replay of this. So if you are watching this on YouTube, by now I've probably already put up the scores. So I'll be curious to see who wins this one. But next week, well, not next week. It could be next week. But the next episode, we're actually going to be bringing in somebody whose chats have been highlighted a couple of times tonight. Red Wolf will be joining us. He's one of my mods over on Twitch. And we're going to be doing... Well, me and Dars are actually going to be teaming up against Red Wolf. And we're going to be doing open world games, which I'm very excited to do. I'm curious to see what me and you come up with together. Surely.
Yes, well, the funny thing is, we've both made lists, but haven't spoken about them yet. So we've got no idea what we picked.
There's going to be duplicates, isn't there? There's going to be duplicates, and then obviously the duplicates are handy.
Yeah, by rights, we should be picking the duplicates because those are the ones that are going to be most people will agree with, surely.
Yeah. I don't know when that episode will drop, though. It will definitely be in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it's going to be the first one where we bring in a community member to take on both Dars and myself. So you get a week off from being whipped by me, Dars. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll have to find someone else to whip me.
I think you've got plenty of suitors. You got plenty of suitors. It's fine.
Probably stabs.
But no, that was a really fun episode. Really fun episode. I'm glad stealth games have appeared quite early on. Now we've got stealth games now. We've got open world next, and then it's my pick after that. And I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it will not be games. It will not be games.
Well, yeah, that's funny because I'm not going to say what it is, but you did actually give me what the next thing was going to be after open world, and I've already got a list.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
What is it?
You said strategy.
Oh, I did. Sorry. It is strategy. You're right. I completely forgot about it. I say that, and the list is literally staring me in the face as well. Draft that strategy, then this 10 games in the list. Yes, sorry. Strategy is the next one after that. And then Dars's pick is after that. We'll see what Dars comes up with, but it won't be strategy. It won't be strategy.
No, it won't. No, it will be.
I think
we'll come up with something interesting.
Yeah, I think strategy will be a very strong point for you, because I know you like a good strat game.
I do like a good strategy game, but you also do. But you tend to play them off camera, don't you?
I do. I think people find them. Well, Shadow Gambit is probably the closest I'll come to playing a strategy game on stream, I would say. Because I feel like people.
It's certainly got strategy elements, hasn't it? But it's not great strategy. When you talk strategy, I think of the grand strategy games, and we know what those are. But for more of that, we'll save it for the actual episode itself.
Yes, but the vote is up in live recording now. Just as a little piece here, at the moment, it's 5-2 in my favour. Let's go. But obviously that could change in the next minute or so while that's still running. Here is the list below, the final list. So on my side, we got Metal Gear Solid, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, Alien Isolation, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Shadow Gambit, Thief 2, Prisoner of War, Manhunt, and Watch Dogs 2. And over on Dars' side, we've got Hitman 2016, Batman Arkham Asylum, Sniper Elite V2, Dishonored, Hostages, Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun, Gunpoint, Dead by Daylight, The Sentinel, and The Hunter, Call of the Wild. 2 really, really good lists there. Can we just emphasise,
of course, that it is Sniper Elite V2 and not, as that font you've chosen suggests, Sniper Elite U2.
Yeah, you play as Bono.
A game about picking off Bono. It's not about that.
Yeah, Bono and Edge, they're your targets. Shoot off the testicles. It'll be a great game, that. I'm here for it. But no, Dars, thank you for joining me for another episode.
Thank you.
It's been a blast, and these won't be as spaced out going forward. I really enjoy doing these. I love lists. Everybody loves a list. So we'll be the next one will be available in the next couple of weeks.
This whole series is a list of lists.
A list of lists, and there's going to be a lot of lists. Years worth of lists. If you like lists, you've come to the right place. Because of course, this is the only video game fantasy drafting series in the world.
It's the only list thing. It's the only list series in the world.
Nobody else does lists.
Nobody has ever even thought of icebergs.
No, never.
No,
ever.
No. Not even a thing.
But no, Dars, thank you very much for joining me. I'm curious to see who pips this one. Next up is Red Wolf challenging both myself and Dars to open world games. But if you've watched this live, thank you very much for sitting in chat and chatting along with us tonight. And if you're watching the replay of this, I hope you've enjoyed it. You've made it all the way through. If you have enjoyed it, sub to the channel. There'll be more Draft That's coming up, and drop a like in the video. But actually, more importantly, what we like to hear is other people's lists. So jump in the comments, give us your top 10s, and we'll have a look at those and see how they compare to what we've got and see what duplicates show up. But no, thank you everybody for joining us today. It's been an absolute blast as always, and we'll catch you on the next one, Open World Games with Red Wolf.